Hey everyone, and welcome to What Did I Miss, where today I'm doing a fan requested video and pointing out all 26 Easter eggs in the Season 2 Star Trek Picard teaser. Those of you that follow the channel probably already know that I put up polls on the community page on YouTube as well as on Twitter that ask which videos you would like to see, and in a recent poll, you all overwhelmingly asked for an in-depth dive into the new Picard teaser. If you do want to vote on which videos you'd like to see in the future, be sure to subscribe to this channel and check out my Twitter page if you use the platform. Also, for being awesome supporters of the channel, I'm going to spend the last minute or so of this video talking about some news that came out about the second season of Picard, as they are now currently filming. So if you are just here for the Easter eggs, that is cool, but if you want to hear a couple of things that came out in interviews and set photos, just stick around to the end. Star Trek held its first Contact Day event on April 4th, 2021, and there are a bunch of details that were released about upcoming Star Trek projects, including 3 teasers for their upcoming shows. I put out a video that summarizes those details, and we'll link it in the description if you'd like to see it, but I think it would be hard to argue that the Star Trek Picard bombshells were the ones that everyone was talking about. Not only was a short teaser dropped that was as cryptic as it was suggestive, but it was also confirmed that there would be at least one new guest star next season in the form of John Delancey returning as Q. So here, I will break down the teaser in depth and give you the background of all the references, as well as what I think they mean for the plot of the second season of Picard. I really appreciate you clicking on this video, and if you do enjoy it, you can do a lot to help support the channel by simply hitting that like button. This is always more fun when I hear from you too, so let me know in the comments which reference was your favorite, and also how excited are you for Picard compared to the other new Star Trek series. The teaser begins with Sir Patrick Stewart as Picard discussing how the true final frontier is time. Now, from the events of the first season, Picard has cheated time in a way, as he now has an android body. The series showrunner has discussed how this will affect the series going forward, so again, if you'd like to hear some news about the second season, just stick around after the Easter eggs. The first thing we see is the famous Chateau Picard, which was featured heavily last season, as well as the Next Generation episode Family. While this vineyard is supposed to exist in France, it is actually filmed at the Sunstone Villa and Vineyard in California. Picard continues to discuss the consequences of time as we see a clock inside his study. The clock itself is at least one Easter egg to Star Trek and may have something to do with a bolt of lightning. The clock was featured before last season in the real Chateau Picard study, as well as the one on the ship La Serena. The clock is showing the time 10:04, which is almost definitely a reference to the clock tower in the movie Back to the Future, and this was also referenced in the Enterprise episode North Star. The next thing the camera lingers on is a broken tablet in the middle of the room, which is the Reckoning tablet last seen in the series Deep Space Nine. That episode had to do with Commander Sisko becoming obsessed over an untranslated text related to an ancient battle between good and evil. It appears that Picard now has the remains of the tablet after Sisko broke it in the episode and released the spirit within. The next object that is lingered on is a painting of the USS Enterprise D, and this painting was also featured in the captain's ready room on the ship, such as in the episode Cupid, which also featured John Delancey as Q. I have seen people online speculate that this painting is showing damage from the Enterprise being destroyed in the movie Star Trek Generations, and the painting somehow surviving that wreck. We then get a better shot of the entire fireplace, and there are various items present that were shown to have been previously in Starfleet archives in the first season, but it looks as though Picard has removed them from there. Starting on the very far left, there are 2 books on display, and these are volumes 1 and 2 of the annotated Shakespeare, although I don't think they're in the original Klingon. These were featured many times on the series and in the movies, and in fact, one is on the same page that is shown to be in the movie Star Trek Generation. Continuing from left to right, and this time on the mantle of the fireplace, there is an ammonite fossil. This was usually behind the captain's chair in his ready room on the Enterprise D and Enterprise E, as shown in the series as well as the movies First Contact and Nemesis. In the middle of the fireplace, there is a bronze sculpture of a horse and plowman. This is not from the Enterprise, but rather from the dining room of the original Chateau Picard before it was destroyed in a fire, events that are told to Picard in the movie Generation. On the far right of the mantle is a model of a Promelian battlecruiser in a bottle. This was a class of ship that Picard was enamored with, as mentioned in the Next Generation episode Booby Trap, where he also discusses his love of building ships in bottles. The chair in front of the fireplace is also an Easter egg, as this appears to be Picard's chair from his ready room on the Enterprise D, or one that is similar if that one was destroyed. The piece of cloth draped over it is a Mintakan tapestry that was given to him in the episode Who Watches the Watchers and appeared on the series as well as some of the movies. To the right of the fireplace but behind the desk is something known as a Kurlan Naskos, which was given to Picard by his mentor Professor Galen in the episode The Chase. To the right of this is a bronze sextant navigation device, which has appeared in the captain's quarters throughout the series, as well as in the movies Insurrection and Nemesis. In front of these, on the right of the desk, is a model of the Stargazer, which was the ship that Picard served aboard before he served on the Enterprise, and where he first used the famed Picard maneuver, which was shown in the episode The Battle. As the camera pans away to the objects on the table, the first thing we see is a Starfleet comm badge. We actually didn't see Picard wear this type of badge until flashback scenes of the first season of Picard, when we were shown when he left Starfleet, as this style was first introduced on Star Trek Deep Space Nine after the Next Generation series and films had stopped. Next we see a copy of a story named The Long Dark Tunnel, which features the character Dixon Hill, who is one that Picard loved to play on the holodeck as seen various times, but first in the episode The Big Goodbye. Next to that is the 1907 reprint of John Milton's Paradise Lost, an epic retelling of the fall from Eden and the Devil's part in it. We get another shot of the Stargazer, which is not the version featured in the show, but rather looks like a bronze version, similar to the ones that Picard destroyed in the movie First Contact. Then we see sand going up an hourglass, which is no doubt a big hint that Picard will be going back in time in the next season. Next to that is what I believe is another reference to time travel, and that is the ignition key for the time machine seen in the movie adaptations of the novel The Time Machine by H.G. Wells. Finally, the camera shows a checkerboard with a deck of cards on it. I think the cards could be a callback to the many games of poker that the bridge crew of the Enterprise took part in, and even Picard finally did in the last episode of the series, All Good Things. The card shown is a Queen of Hearts, which was also shown in the first season of Picard during a scene in which Picard and Data play cards together. We then watch the Queen of Hearts disintegrate into sand, and we hear the well-known voice of Q state that the trial is never over. The Queen disintegrating into sand obviously ties Q to the sands in the hourglass, further cementing his role in the second season. The trial that Q is referencing is a callback to the first time the two met in the Next Generation pilot episode, Encounter at Farpoint, and was again referenced in the series finale. Well, that was all the Easter eggs I saw, but let me know in the comments if I missed any. I promised those of you that stuck around some Picard news, and there are a few hints given as to the direction of next season, released in interviews since the teaser was released. One thing that most people have been wondering about this new version of Picard is how much different he will be from the man we know. For instance, will he now have super strength and be an innate genius like Data was shown to be? Speaking to The Hollywood Reporter, writer, producer, and co-showrunner of Picard, Avika Goldsman, said the following when asked about how this new body will affect Picard and if it will change his abilities. It doesn't. We did try to address that at the end of 10. He's not Super Picard. We reset this congenital problem he lived with since Next Gen and gave him the opportunity for rebirth, but it's nothing more than a record as he might have been were he not here. So for now, don't expect Picard to jump high buildings in a single bound. A few other details were revealed about the first season in the same interview. First, Goldsman admitted that when they started filming the first season of Picard, the finale had not been written yet, so they were not fully aware of where the season was going to go when they started, which is something they are not going to do again. Goldsman was also cagey about if they are filming the second and third season of the series back-to-back, as has been rumored, and made it seem like an announcement about that was pending. But what I found most interesting was that it turns out that Picard was originally meant to be a short trek, not a full series. Goldsman said the following about the early developments of Picard. You know, Picard wasn't supposed to be a series, it was just a one-off scene in a short trek. He wasn't even going to be played by Patrick Stewart. They were going to have a young Picard at the end of a short we were making up. Then, executive producer Alex Kurtzman was like, what if it was Patrick Stewart? What if it wasn't one scene? Alex has a plan and it's pretty cool. Finally, we did get one shot of Picard filming the next season. It appears that not only is he dressed in Romulan garb, but he is also speaking with an A500 style android. I'm guessing that this is a scene set in the past, as we know from the first season of Picard that all androids were destroyed after the attack on Mars. That is all I have this time, but thank you very much for clicking on this video and sticking out until the end. Don't forget, I still have a contest going until the end of April, and 3 subscribers to the channel are going to win a Captain Kirk Funko Pop. So if you want to win, be subscribed and comment on a video or join the WDIM Discord server. If you would like to help out the channel, please hit that like button, and I will see you next time on What Did I Miss?